Welcome. Actually, I cannot speak Hungarian, so sorry for my English. I could, of course, speak in Polish, but I don't think it would be a good solution for you. So, let me tell you a story. Let's imagine we are working on a project, normal IT project. We have a team. We have testers, we have business analysts, we have, of course, some technology. Yeah? And working on the project during this work, in one moment, there was a change request. Of course, you know what is a change request. This is the normally small issues that are rather unwelcomed in our project. So let's imagine we have a change request. And in normal situation, in many projects, it is like that the customer or the stakeholders are raising small change requests, and this small change request can have a different influences, aspects, so impacts on the project. This is an example of such influence. Do you recognize this picture, perhaps? Yeah, what's that? Jupiter. And what are these signs? The comet, yeah. So, why I'm talking about this? Sometimes in our great projects, which are in progress, which are in development, sometimes happens that, well, change our plans. And our beautiful projects are not beautiful anymore, like this. So if you are working in IT, and if you know the concept and the work product called change request, you know very much this effect. So let me ask you a question. Is there any hope for us? Yeah. How do you think? No? Okay. Okay, this, your answer actually breaks my presentation, so I will assume you said yes. Yeah. So, is there any way, how can we deal with the complexity of projects? You are working in IT, you know IT projects. You know that most of IT projects are not small, are not little ones. Yeah? There are a lot of requirements, a lot of complexity. Sometimes the technology is complex. Sometimes teams are complex because we can deal with, we may deal with teams that are distributed. So how to deal with this complex situation and how to foresee the future, yeah? How to foresee the effect of the change. Actually, we have a kind of solution for this. This is called traceability. Okay. Sorry, I don't see you very well because of the slide, but can you tell me who knows the concept of traceability? Who knows this term? Okay, I see a few hands. So it is not quite new for you. Okay, just for the others, let's say, recall the definition of traceability. More or less, it is about connections, relationships that we have between artifacts. Artifacts means, well, simply more or less work products. Work products that are used in our products, that are created, that are used to create the final solution. So, if we want to create something like traceability, we need artifacts, yeah? Work products, things that we create, things that other people create, like project managers, like designers, like me, business analysts. So artifacts, this is the first thing that you need to know. The second thing, you need to know relationships. What is related with what? And sorry to say, in many projects, in most projects actually, we can talk about many-to-many relationships. So actually, these guys are the best examples of many-to-many. Sometimes you even don't know who is connected with who. In IT projects, we can deal with the same situation. We have work products, we have no idea what is the relationship with of the work products with another ones. So, just an example from IT. These are examples of artifacts in IT projects. Requirements, use cases, test cases, yeah, classes, project plans, test plans. These are artifacts. First, you need to know them. Then you need to know the connections. Yeah? These lines, these visualizations are connections, relationships. This is the first step to create traceability. And let's imagine that you already have it. Then why would you need traceability? What is actually the benefit from having this? Because to be honest, creating these all connections, these all models is a lot of work. Yeah? So business is business. If I will create something, I need some value from this. So what is the application? Let me ask you some questions again. In your projects, in your work, do you know where is information stored? Do you know what is the repository, the source, the place that you are storing information? Do you know what is the structure of this information? Do you know that requirements have different levels of abstractions, that we have business requirements, system requirements? Do you know what is the relationship between them? If you know, you can use the benefits of traceability. You can make clear what is the structure of information that you have, so you know what you are doing, just simply. If you have traceability, you can do coverage analysis. Actually, very, very valuable thing, because sometimes our customers are asking very not nice questions. Are you sure? Are you able to provide me a proof, evidence that all my requirements are covered? Without traceability, your answer will be just a guess. Traceability will give you evidence. Yeah, so this is the benefit. This is something that you can measure. What else? Impact analysis. If you have traceability, you can more or less foresee what is the impact of introducing change. To avoid the effect that I am introducing very small change in this piece of code, and I am breaking another piece of code here. Yeah? So just to make our life easier, we need traceability. And again, let me ask you these questions. Do you know this information? You know? Okay. Sometimes people are saying, yes, of course we know. And then they are just realizing, okay, what was the question? What she's talking about? Because traceability is not only about traces, links, things like that. Traceability is about the whole structure of the information that you have, the whole connections, the whole dependencies. So, now if you can or cannot answer my questions, now it's time to the core of the presentation, how to. And now, I suppose I should give you some hints, some guides, how to create and maintain the structure for traceability. What should we start from? The first answer would be, okay, let's select some tools, some techniques, some methods for creating the links, the traces. Do you know any tools for supporting traceability? Can you give me an example of tools, methods supporting traceability? What? Excel. Of course. Good Excel is not bad, really. Okay. Okay. Do you know any others, maybe not so good tools? Do you know Jira? Yeah. Okay. Do you know modeling tools like Enterprise Architect's Visual Paradigm? Okay, these are tools. So, do you think that this is enough? This is the starting point that can assure our traceability? Should we start from tools? We could, but actually I would say starting from tools is a very nice idea, but actually totally wrong. Because why? Tools are just means. Before selecting means, I need to know the goal. Without the goal, any tool is just wrong. Any tool will give you the result if you do not define the result. So first, before selecting tools, I need to start from the beginning. What was the beginning? Information. Yeah? So how to build traceability? Think about information that you have in your projects. What do you need to have? Which information you need to manage? And just a simple example. In theory, in every project we should have business goals. Business goals are justification for these projects. And business goals can be refined, or business goals are provided by stakeholders, are normally connected with some business context, including business processes, some business objects. And then business goals can be related with risks. Risks will impact our future projects. Business requirements or business goals are then implemented by business requirements. Business requirements are then realized into system requirements. Yeah? But system requirements are then defined, detailed by, for example, use cases, data specification, interfaces, screen prototypes. And what else we have normally in projects? You are testers, so we're supposed to have test cases. And all the information must work together. So I need to know what is the source of test case. And not only the information that test case is related with the function or a user story. I need to have the full traceability to be able to say that this test case will act to verify this business goal. This is the first thing that you need to understand in your project. What kind of work products you have, what kind of information you need, taking into account that this all structure must be valuable. So the effort spent on the structure must be returned somehow. This is an example of implementation. Okay. My technical support just left. Okay, so I will need to switch to manual testing. This is an example of the structure for traceability. Just a structure of folders. This is done in a tool, but the tool doesn't matter. The information matters. What else? Coverage analysis. If you already have the structure, you need to think what coverage items you need to cover. So what is valuable in your project? For example, business goals, business requirements, system requirements. These are things that perhaps may be required to cover. So you need to check, you need to ensure mechanism, which mechanism is a secondary option actually. First thing to ensure is to check what kind of deliverables must be covered. And then you need to implement the traceability by different means actually. One of these means, examples you can see here. This is actually a screen from Jira. Traceability is realized, is implemented through links, connections. This is traceability. The only thing to do is to create the links to understand the relationships. This is another example, graphical models. So again, before choosing tools, you need to do something that actually Paul Gerard was talking about yesterday, staying in this place. Yeah? He was talking about mental models. Before any tools, create a model. Think about the information, think about the structure, think about the model that you will need to cover. Only then you can select tools. Okay. If we have the structure, if we have the connections, then you can think about mechanisms for change analysis, for change impact analysis. And here is again an example. In this example, you can see that if our dear customer will request change for this requirement, I can analyze the impact of change of the single requirement. This requirement is related with these ones. And these requirements are detailed by use cases. These use cases are then detailed by classes, by data model. And having this relationship, this whole structure, will give you a kind of mechanism for foreseeing the impact of this change onto the rest of the system. So actually, you are lowering the risk of introducing not controllable changes and making your system not working. You know the regression effect. Something was working and suddenly stopped working. It was not suddenly. There was a change. And you didn't recognize the impact of the change. Yeah. So, as a summary, I think we all can agree that IT projects are complex. One of the mechanisms for complexity is traceability, the relationship. How to build traceability in very simplest way. First, understand the information structure. It sounds stupid, it sounds so obvious, but it is not really obvious. In most projects that I saw, the most important problem was not the tools, not the techniques, but the lack of understanding what we are doing actually. What was the reason of doing things? What was the reason of doing projects, of initiating the projects? What actually deliverables are we going to deliver in this, to provide as a result of the projects? So first you need to understand this. As a tester, as a test manager, as a business analyst, whatever. Yeah, it applies to all stakeholders and team members. Then you need to understand how these work products are related together. What is the sub-product? What is the main work product? What are the artifacts behind it? Then what? You need to create the structure of information. It can be Excel, it can be Jira, it can be Confluence, it can be the structure of folders, it can be mine enterprise architects, it can be whatever works. And whatever is actually properly for you and your organization. Then what? You need to select options for managing traceability. You need to select tools, mechanisms, yeah, techniques. You need to, for example, decide that you will use requirement traceability matrix, or you will use references or links or whatever. Yeah? And then what is very important, and people are forgetting about this, you need to maintain traceability. Because normally in IT projects, things are not stable. Actually, we are saying that the only fixed thing in IT is a change. Yeah? So if things are going to change, you need to think about this, and you need to ensure that every change has a proper representation in the traceability structure. So traceability is done on an ongoing basis, as testing and planning and many other things. And this is the way of building traceability. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Karolina. We have 2 questions.
Do you have a recommendation for visualizing traceability for large amount of data? Okay, I would recommend you to use some kind of modeling, tooling and modeling techniques like the screens that I shown you, the screens from enterprise architects and tools like this. These tools are able to keep traceability from many really large amount of data. And what is very convenient for me personally, the relationship, the structure is presented in graphical form. So it is actually easy to understand, easy to analyze. So I would recommend the modeling techniques. Should I take the second one?
Yes, please.
Who should drive introducing traceability? Yeah, good question, very good. Huge effort. Well, actually it depends from the structure of team, of the organization that you have. In my project, normally either business analysts or business owners are responsible for this, or quality managers responsible for processes. So this is, I would say, more or less typical answer. Sometimes project owners are also taking care about this, but sometimes the project owners and project managers have no idea about this mechanism at all, so it will actually act in a negative way. I would say that from your point of view as a testers, what you can do, you can at least point or inform stakeholders that we have a need for this kind of information and this kind of structures, and you need to just to discuss with the business owners, with process owners, with stakeholders, that we need to have some kind of basic connections to be able to do coverage analysis, impact analysis. So you can trigger the process, But I would say normally testers are not responsible, are not in charge for the whole process. Business analysts, process owners, quality managers are. The next one.
Thank you. Please answer the last two in one answer. I think they are very related to each other.
Yeah, okay. So that's all I see.
Yes, these are the...
Okay. Typically, I have also one more question from the audience. How much time does it take to create this kind of structure? And actually, if you are doing your job properly, I'm talking about business analysts, I'm talking about designers. If you are doing your job well, introducing traceability costs nothing, because this is an element of the proper design, of the best practices. So this is nothing like additional cost for you. It shouldn't be like that.